Hey Squash, Fluitaia. Let's see, I said I was going to show you my little banished village. This is where I started. I started out with these three houses and this storage cart. Well, I started with the storage cart. I built these three houses and then I built the gatherer's den over here and the gatherer's hut. This didn't actually build fast enough, so I ended up starving a couple of people before it got ready. I then expanded it with the hunting cabin because I remembered you saying it was pretty good for keeping your people alive. What I did after that was these were originally wooden houses that I upgraded later. After I got those settled and those settled, I expanded the foresters, which I put two together, like I was telling you about. See how this forest hasn't really degraded any? So it doesn't matter how many I think you put together as long as they have some forest around it. I ended up getting the herbalist. I also expanded over here with a gatherer's hut and a hunting cabin as I got people for it, um, and did another forester lodge. And the reason I did so many forester lodges was I was planning on trading just the regular wood, just the logs. But I noticed that the chopped firewood was actually worth 4 instead of 2. So what I did was I expanded my woodcutters, which don't, I mean, 2 for every like 3 forester lodges is way more than you'll ever need. Um, and what that did was it allowed me to buy the seeds and the livestock that ended up giving me the sheep, the chickens, and farming stuff. And then after building up some supply things, what I did was every year or so I would build 3 more houses, which I just kind of expanded down this way. And I ended up expanding down this way. I noticed I started running out of stone a lot, so I did the mill, uh, not the mill, the quarry. Ended up doing it hunter and gatherers, and I started expanding down this way. After I added more houses, I built them a stockpile, a place to put their food, and a pasture to start out with. So those were the 3 main buildings along with the houses. And then eventually I'm going to put in a forester's lodge here. That way they have lumber. I've got my 2 cemeteries, which are sadly a little bit high. Um, I ended up expanding up this way for foresting stuff in the pastures. Ended up putting in a town hall. Um, this was the first year. I did have that little dip where I starved a couple of people. It was fairly steady. I started a school pretty early, I think. That way they were all educated. Half my population died to a tornado. And then it's been pretty steady ever since. I haven't really starved or frozen anyone. What I did was I always kept one laborer or one builder. So the laborers bring most stuff to the buildings before they're built, and then the builders finish it off. I kept mostly gatherers, like 2 hunters to supply my tailor, and then the blacksmith just he didn't really need a whole lot of extra help. And then I kept a lot of foresters, and the foresters let me trade fairly often. And then as I built up, I just kind of built this other stuff. I made sure that my hunters were always pretty good. My gatherers were always pretty good. When I got herdsmen, I always traded the gatherers first because the hunters will give you leather. And then I'm not finding farming to be very helpful. Like, it just takes too long to get their supplies, and they only give you about like 1,000 per harvest. And if you look at, let's see, one of my chicken farms. Yeah, well, this one's got half its population. It should be closer to 66. But, well, let's just take the sheep. The sheep give me 800 a season, and you get 4 seasons a year. That's a lot more than 1,000 food. So herding is probably going to end up leaving you the most room for growth over farming. So I would definitely try to to go after herds as fast as you can. And then the gatherers and the hunters are also more steady, whereas trying to harvest every year it just doesn't seem very helpful to me. And then you can increase laborers and builders as you build things. And that's about it. That's my Banished village.